That sounds like it's a your end.
It is a my end thing, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I'm just looking at my audio levels and trying to tweak that and all that stuff.
Oh, all the things you usually do before you hit the live. Yep.
Well, yes. Unfortunately, I don't have a good way of setting these things up beforehand, so it's just, you know
Yeah, I
what?
know.
We're just going to go for it. And at least we have something. Ain't that right?
Sure.
Sure. All right. I probably ought to bring that to
I'll try and
that
not make
screen.
extra work.
Extra work.
Yeah, I don't want to make extra work for you.
Yeah, I'm out of it right now. I had a long day yesterday. The week started pretty normal. I was actually able to try to get ahead on things, and then things started getting busier and busier and busier. And yesterday I clocked in at 8:45 in the morning, and I left at 10:15 at night.
That's rough.
That's a long day.
I mean, I know I do 13 and a halves, but I do 3 of them.
Yes.
That's it.
Exactly. And also you do it remotely, so you're not
Yeah.
running up and down flights of stairs and prepping cameras and dealing with troubleshooting where things go and having to pull stuff and yeah.
Nope. I mean, I don't sit in my chair for more than 15 minutes at a time generally, but
Right.
that's just because I don't think I can. I mean, I
Yeah,
have,
exactly.
but like it's not a thing I can do like normally.
Yeah. But yeah. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll be a little more recharged and I'll be able to do some more cutting apart of stuff in Premiere because Premiere is awesome.
Well, you're probably like 5 to 10 years out of the game at this point.
Over 10 years at this point, yeah. I mean, I remember doing mats in Final Cut 7 and, you know, set the positions, you know, all that, set the keyframe, and then, you know, you set a start keyframe, start and end keyframe, and it renders and it does the move. And if you're trying to track something in the frame, you have to, like, whenever it goes out of that path, you have to, like, set a new keyframe. So what I did for blurring your screen, I was fully prepared to do that because the screen wobbled and all that stuff. But there's a button in Premiere, like auto follow or auto track or something. I just clicked the button and it did it. And it was like 80% of the way there. A little bit of a tweak to the refinement and boom. Easy
Good old
peasy.
machine learning.
I would have shot someone
Your
15
vision.
years ago to have that. I really would have.
You know, the worst part is that did exist.
Yeah, but not in like real time. I mean, that was or near enough real time.
No, that's true.
And you had
I mean-
you had to go to another program. You had to actually configure it to track a certain area, and it was a nightmare because you had to have a certain brightness to darkness contrast and stuff, and it was always a crap. It was just no, it was great, just instant, boom, done.
Well, and you also have the NVIDIA graphics card, so you got boost that way, so that helps.
Yes, indeed.
So,
Because, like you said, machine learning. I mean, there wasn't a thing 15 years ago, or at least not a practical thing.
it was. I have a textbook from 1988 on machine learning. Like, don't give me that.
I mean, so
And that wasn't like the first textbook either.
I mean, the concept's been around for a while. I just called it something different every 10 years. I mean, if I remember right, it was in the aughts, actually. I think it was like neural net programming or something.
Neural nets are a specific type of machine learning,
Gotcha.
which is how you get like the deep learning, which deep doesn't refer to like, whoa, it's deep, man. It refers to the number of layers. Like there's many layers. So it's like an onion, but no.
An onion that perhaps we shall dip our toes into on this window of the internet.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I can see the
thought-
t-shirts now. No, I can't actually.
That's too many layers deep. No, I'm trying something different. Instead of having the air conditioner on, I'm gonna have it on fan now. But I have the windows open and the exhaust fan running, so trying to pull a draft and see if it does anything.
Actually get some air movement, yeah. 'Cause I assume that you didn't get your baffles set up then?
No, I have done absolutely nothing with that.
The
I've
air
spent
remained...
more time dealing with prints that just don't
Ooh.
adhere. Well, okay, so I crumpled that one, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's... Yeah,
And,
all
like-
too well.
like that, you can kind of see it. This is a better one,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like sometimes it's just like it's good enough, and like I would have let that go, except it had peeled from the corner to almost the other corner, and this thing needs to be like 8 inches tall. So I was like, I don't know if that's actually gonna work. So I was like,
No.
let's stop this 20-hour print. An hour and a half in, only wasting that. So like I'm tweaking settings and stuff, and like this nonsense is just annoying, especially when it goes all around your heat block and just like because it doesn't want to stick to the bed, but so you clean it again, it doesn't help. But now this time I cleaned it and I sandpapered it a little. Well, Scotch-Brite, the medium one, so high grit to try and restore the PEI layer a little bit. We'll see. But also I figured out finally that my bed leveling, with the probe failing, is mostly because the nozzle gets dirty and doesn't, clean properly on the little nozzle cleaner thing.
Oh.
So that was the other reason why I bit the bullet and bought the maroon Scotch-Brite, was because there's a modified piece that you can put for the wipe pad instead of using the one that it comes with. You can just cut those. It's cheaper. It's a lot cheaper, and do that and see if that works. If it does, great. If it doesn't, well, maybe I'll at least change it more often. Because it'll be easier. But we'll see. I want to get those bins printed and clean up that stuff, and it's just not.
Yeah.
It's just a big pain.
I mean, at least for me, my 3D print woes, it's mostly tied to that one filament, the translucent red, which sometimes I can get working enough to do a print, and sometimes I can't. And actually, let me show you
That was a good sound.
a result of... Yeah. Yeah, so this is... So...
The heck?
Okay, so what I did here was I wanted stickers. This way I could just put them on a camera or a lens and be like, this is 1 day old. This one's 2 days old. This one's 3 days old. And so each color is like, the more stickers they get on it, the longer it's been sitting there. But I need something to like dispense the stickers from. So I have 15 millimeter diameter rods, which are a common camera thing. And I have a wooden desk. So I'm like, hey, I'll just design and print a rod holder. Easy. I use the crappy filament because, hey, it's just for internal use anyway. And yes, I put the screws in a little bit too deep or too tight, and so it's split. But it's split right along that layer that was getting wonky with the print. I don't know. I mean, I know it's the filament. I don't have any other filament that does that, where it'll just like stop going through the nozzle.
That's weird.
Yes, it is.
That is some funky filament.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I also mismeasured it. I didn't have it the right size in terms of the measurement. So, meh. I know that was a thing. But one of the things that did... Oh, dang it.
That's one thing I like about doing it in Fusion. You get a measurement wrong, you go, balls. And then you change that measurement, and then it just modifies, probably like 98% of the stuff that you need to take care of. Like you might have to redo a fillet or something. But then it's just like, boom, try it again.
Yeah. But then I get things like this where it's the same filament. I just happened to get lucky on a print, and easy peasy. I've got gaff tape hooks on the side of my desk now. Woo.
Yeah. I mean, it works.
Yep.
I need to print a new headphone. Well, another headphone mount. Because, well, these headphones could use a mount instead of just sitting there on top of the keys.
Yeah.
But I don't know how well you can see this arm that I've got here. It's a little bit different because I took it apart and cut about 3 inches off of each piece and put it back together with different bolts so they could actually get tightened. And I put it in the 3D printed bracket so it's not clamped on, so I can actually put it where I want it.
Yep.
And then I had the 1.5 inch wood screws, but then it started to pull that way because it's only being held on by 2 at the top. So I was like, I could probably build a thing, or I could just use 2.5 inch screws. I use 2.5 inch screws.
Yep. Sometimes it's the simple solutions.
And it's not levering its way out yet, so don't have to worry about fixing that for a while. I should put that on a PTZ. What is the PT?
Yet another project for you then, eh?
I've had that pan tilt servo hat for, I don't know, 3 to 5 years. Haven't done anything with it except lose 2 screws. Good as that, right?
But I know you use Fusion 360, whereas I use Tinkercad, and this is just some of the things that I've done. Like I've been inspired by certain design, like the Pelican latch was straight up from Thingiverse, but like the rod mount, I made that myself. This was a modification from something that I grabbed online. This is one that I went to make myself, but I just never actually printed it because actually I forgot about this one. I have these wire shelves in my office. They're not shelves. They're like wire, I guess, racks up against the wall. And I figured out there might be a way to actually like mount a bin to it, and I can like store little bits and bobs in it. Like actually just, it goes, the vertical beam will keep it centered, and then it'll actually hook onto the horizontal beam, and then I can like store nuts and bolts and stuff in it. But it's going to use a lot of filament. It's going to take a lot of time to print. It's just a lot of time for maybe something that won't work, and I just don't have time to keep working on it. So yeah, it's like the bins, like because this is supposed to be a 5x4 or 4x5, and that's a pound of filament. And then the bins themselves are probably about that much. So just for that, it's a whole spool. Yeah. I mean, I have the spools because I was going to make something else, but if I didn't have the spools, then I wouldn't do it. Because that's a lot, even though I think it's something I want. It just doesn't seem like it'd be worth doing. But at least, filament for me, when I get the cheap stuff, is only $20 a spool, or less if I go for discount. But like that PETG yellow that I got, which just absolutely is not sticking on the print bed for anything larger than like a quarter at this point. It's obnoxious. But again, at least at this point, you have the options of other filaments. I'm locked into the XYZ stuff. Yeah, like I pretty much go with the Polymaker because it's the cheaper one, and it is good quality. Like I don't, like if I'm gonna have problems with filament, it's gonna be basically all filaments because there's a problem with my setup with the printer, right, or the settings or whatever, more than the filament itself.
but I probably should think about changing the nozzle. I kind of want to get a new print head, a lighter one,
Hmm.
because I don't like letting the prints go and like 15 millimeters per second. I like it when they go faster and get it done so I can see what I have to fix.
Right.
I mean, it's supposed to be quick, get it done. It doesn't have to be
Well,
perfect looking. It just has to work.
it's rapid prototyping. It's not necessarily quick,
Well,
but
it's rapid in that you're not having weeks and months of turnaround time.
right.
You can do it in a day or within a day, or less than a week, or whatever the actual definition is.
Yeah, it's there on your desktop near enough in a less amount of time than it would take to order it from China or get a
Yeah, you don't-
machine set up in Taiwan or
You're not
whatever.
tooling for it yet. You're at least prototyping to see if it's going to work,
Mm-hmm. Right.
or if you're going to be able to make it do the thing that you want.
Or you just need a small run of them. You just need 10 of them, and it's a complicated part that isn't worth doing by hand or by some other method. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's good for that kind of stuff, and having the bigger print volume helps with that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this thing is basically almost 8 inches tall because, well, that's about the depth of my shelves there. So, I could make them shorter so they match the other ones, but I'm not going to use that space anyway, so why not just
Yeah.
make the bins bigger?
Use the space.
It's-
Absolutely.
I don't have to just find something that fits at the store. I can just make it the size that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.